Nada, one bar.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
we'll just wait for 1 more minute, and after that we'll start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So in the previous class, I think last class we had a combined class that was on Saturday, which we actually discussed about coefficient of variance and how to determine the standard deviation and how to interpret. Today we will just move on and we'll discuss a topic named as discuss the topic that is named as correlation analysis. Okay, so already you have maybe you have done different types of the research project right now, right? And different purpose of conducting the research should be determine the preference of in order to determine the preference of the customer. So this could have been one of the research purpose. Now correlation.
And it's simply great that on Moodle.
Yes. See, I would request everyone to just unmute or mute themselves so that everyone over here will be able to listen to what I'm telling. All right. So correlation analysis is basically a particular measure wherein relationship is being determined in two different parameters, correct? And so when the relationship is being determined, different type of the conclusion can be drawn. Right? For example, so straight away we will start with one of the problems, try to interpret the results. So we will see exactly how correlation helps in determining the relationship between two different parameters. Right? So the objective, example one, the objective of one of the research is to determine if there is a relation between advertising expense and total sales of. Okay. So whatever you have done right now, project. So similar type of a project is being considered, wherein here this particular case, okay, in this particular case, they are trying to see if advertising is actually having any impact on the sales of the product. Sorry. Should have been done. So this is something which the researcher is interested in. Now, how can this be determined here? One of the measure is used in determining the relationship between these two parameters. You can just make note of these 2 3 lines and then we will go ahead. Just make note of the question statement that is being mentioned here. See that you are just making note faster. Go ahead. Okay, I assume that you have written this particular question statement. Okay, just rub this. Now, values given are x and y. X values of x 65, y is 47, as well as. Now the question here is relation between advertising expense advertising expense So let us assume that this is and let us assume that this is make note of these values and we will go ahead. Now, in order to determine this correlation coefficient, y minus x minus x bar whole square y minus y bar whole square x minus x bar into y minus y. Okay, so these are the different columns required. So write solution and prepare these many. I will just rub the last the question set, determine the relationship between advertising expense and sales. Right? So first, in order to determine this x minus x bar, first we have to determine the summation. That is, x bar is required, average is required for this. So determine the average first. For this, we want summation of x and summation of y. Anyone with this value? Just determine first what is summation x and summation y. And subsequently also determine the average of x and average of y. Anyone can answer this? Summation of x and summation of y. Similarly, what is x bar with y bar? Yes, anyone with this answer? What is summation of x and what is summation of y? Okay, average is 64 and 61. But what is the answer? Summation. Summation is 56 and 2. Is the same answer. The answer is same across all of them. 4. Which is 1. So likewise, determine what is x minus x bar. First value for x minus x bar, 9 minus 64. Now, before getting the answer, it's very important that you maintain the signs. The signs are very much important. Correct? 39 minus 64. If you have to see, the sign of the highest value is plus, but this is lowest value, 39. Between 39 and 64, 64 is the highest value. So that is the reason the sign of the highest value will be retained as it is. Now you have to determine what is 39 minus 64. That value will be here. 39 minus 25. Right? Yes, I think you can just orally tell. It's difficult for me to. You can unmute yourself, whoever wants to answer, and you can go ahead. Minus 5. 5.
1.
So I just cut this.
X minus x bar is first one is minus 25.
Minus 25.
1
1.
minus 2 26.
Fine. And after this, y minus y bar. Y minus y bar, I will just do the first calculation. Rest of it. Minus 61. So answer is how much?
minus 14.
Minus 4. The sign here will be minus because the sign of the 47 is plus. Now you have to consider this as minus because the sign of the highest value is minus. Next,
minus 8.
next.
Minus 3. 25.
All these are values. Next, you have to square the values minus 25. Whatever you get here, that is to be squared. So this becomes minus 25 minus
625.
25. Next,
1,
1,
4.
4,
676.
7. Next, about 14 square is 96,
64.
4,
201.
9,
99.
625.
120. Correct. Now, the last column, I'm just repeating it once again. The last column, you have to calculate twice, thrice. Even in the semester examination. Very important. You have to calculate twice or thrice. Why? Because correlation problems we see, but only thing is that if the last column values are wrong, your correlation value also will be wrong. So see that you are checking or calculating this last column twice, thrice. And similarly, these signs are very much important. Correct. So these signs decides the signs of the last column. All right. First value is minus 25 into minus 14. How much?
350.
It's the next.
Minus 8.
Here, the value of sign of 1 is plus, sign of 8 is minus. So answer is minus 8. Plus into minus is minus. Next,
Plus 6.
plus 6. Because minus into minus is plus. Both are minus here. Last one.
650.
So, if anyone has not understood, kindly ask. Because this is online class, they cannot make out who actually understands something. Even if it is a small clarification, clarified. Any clarification? If there is any clarification, you can even ask later. Point WhatsApp, call me and get. You have to sum total the last three columns.
X minus x bar square is 1306, sir.
Not 6. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. 894.
894. Last one.
998.
9. 998. I hope everyone same answer. 1306. 898. Just make note of 2 minutes, 2 or 1 minute. Just make note of this. After that, I will erase this. Anyone requires explanation for any of the steps or notes for any of the steps, just ask. I'm just assuming that everyone are following the steps. Only if you ask, I will get. So part of this I will rub. Next is nothing but we have to directly apply the equation for correlation. Now this particular coefficient of correlation is called as this coefficient is called as coefficient of correlation. Okay, now this is very much important because if you have to see uh, in current times, I've seen pandemic since last year. Now, in this case, in this particular scenario, it would be very much important to the required factors. What are the really the factors that spread widespread of pandemic? So, what are the reasons? If the purpose of a research is to determine the reasons, then primary factor would be to determine the relationship. What is the reason for increase in a pandemic? Right? So the hygiene, we do not know, but it can be hygiene may be one of the reason. Right? So total number of population may be one of the reasons. So as the number of population increases, total people in the market get in the market also goes on increasing. Correct? So if we want to determine what are the different factors, correct, we can actually use correlation in this particular scenario. So the number of cases increasing can be correlated with the number of population in a particular country. We can actually see any type of a correlation relationship between these two parameters. Correct? So this is actually one of the real-time applications that can be used. Similarly, likewise, we can actually see if the gold price rate, is there any correlation between the gold price rate as well as the Sensex index? So if you have to see the Sensex index, whether it actually increases with the gold price, the rising gold price. So is there any type of correlation between these two parameters that also listed here, wherein we are considering the price of gold as one of the variable. Next variable can be the Sensex index. These two parameters can be considered. Correlation can be done, and so these are the different types of. Okay. Now equations for this is y minus whole divided by also. Okay. So multiplication sign. Once this is done, now as we know what this parameter is, already, we can just substitute it. So for that summation of minus x bar into y minus 1000 straight away coming from this. Next, we are considering this 800 8. Here, so 1000 divided with anyone tell what product? 894 into 998. What is the product? What is the product when you multiply 894 into 998? What is the answer?
892 212.
Once this is done, what is the final answer?
Sir, summation of x minus x bar and y minus y bar is 998, sir.
Sir, you written wrong value, sir.
Right.
998 divided by
Correct,
square root of
998.
1316.
Last column was 990.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Nine 998 should be divided with 1306. Is it right? What I wrote, is it right? 1306 into VP.
Correct, sir.
Correct. Now this product, is it right? Product.
No, sir, it's wrong.
What should be the product?
11,67,564.
11 lakh
67,564.
564. Finally, the answer
0.92.
is 0.92 final. Okay. This is the final answer. Now, how to interpret this result? We will see with the next one. Note of this, and then we will go to the next one. It's tough. Okay. So write the next. Matter. Just like if we want to actually interpret the result, we can draw the scatter diagram and visualize the actual behavior of these 2 points. So our main intention was to determine if there is any type of advertising expenses as the total sales of the product, and to see if any changes in the advertising made will have any type of impact on the sales. That was our main intention. So the same points again. Question is for example one, that is the previous example. Okay. For scatter diagram. Find the relationship. Find the relationship between advertising expense and cost and sales. Okay. In relationship. Take note of this point. Well, okay, I assume that everyone has this. There's this. Now, the points are and y, 47. Now, it is very much important that axis independent variable. X-axis should always be independent variable, and y-axis should always be dependent variable. It is compulsory. Okay. See what exactly is the dependent and independent variable. It is nothing but what is the independent and dependent variable? The independent variable is y and x is advertising expense. Advertising expense. Now, if you have to see, as we increase advertising expense, what happens is sales also. We are just testing actually any type of a relationship between advertising expense and sales. What happens is actually in this scenario, sales is dependent on the advertising expense. Sales is basically dependent on the advertising expense. Right? Now, if we have to consider some other example, let us assume that as the price of rice or vegetable goes on increasing, so whatever vegetable, like previous 1 month back, we had a lot of rise in the prices of vegetables. Right? Now, what happens is the rise of that particular commodity, when the inflation goes on increasing, this power of particular individual comes down. So there is inflation is indirectly or directly dependent on the price of commodities. So that is the reason there what happens is inflation is dependent variable and the price of vegetables is in. Is it clear? Similar is the scenario here also. Okay. say that. Right, so you have, I assume that you have made note of this, and I'm rubbing this. So, what is independent variable? Independent variable is advertising expense cost. So x-axis is basically about independent variable, and this advertising expense. And y-axis dependent variable is of sales is dependent advertising expense. Everyone agrees to this. Is there any doubt? If there is any doubts, you are supposed to ask me. Y-axis, always remember, it will be having the dependent variables. Your sales is dependent on the advertising expense. And you can say sales on the y-axis. Very important. Compulsory step. Correct. Let us assume the scatter diagram is asked for 10 marks, and if you have identified the dependent and independent variable, then the graph will be done. Just make note of this. When you are drawing the scatter diagram, very important is naming of x and y variable. Okay, so I will rub this. Once this is done, next step is you have to take a graph sheet and you have to do the following. This is compulsorily you have to put it on a graph sheet. Somewhere you can write place that it has to be compulsorily graph sheet. Compulsory. It should not be drawn on a normal answer sheet. It has to be compulsorily. This particular diagram has to be drawn on the graph sheet. Now, what is the highest value in x? Highest value for x? The highest value for x? X-axis. What should be the highest value? What is the highest value for x? The highest advertising
90.
expense? 90. 90 is the highest. Now it is not mandatory that you have to always start with 0 itself. I will basically start directly 0. So first value is starting only on 39. What I will do is I will consider 40 as this particular value. It's not mandatory that it has to be 10 itself. I can consider this as 40 also. 50, 70, 80. Correct? Done. Y-axis is anyways, that doesn't matter. I think we have taken y value. So the maximum y value is 86, and anyways, we can easily accommodate y-axis. The least value is also starting from 47, and here also I have considered the least value as 40. So here also the least value starts from 39. Here the least value is 39. So you can start with 10, 20, 30. I will start with directly 30 itself. Doesn't matter because since the least value is 39, so we can start somewhere here plotting this 80, 90. So this is x-axis is advertising, and this y-axis is okay. So first thing is first thing is yes, you can just observe how this first point is being drawn, and then you can make note of this particular diagram. Just place the first point. First point is 39, 47. 39 is here, 47 is here. 39, 47 should be the first point. 39, 47, 47. I'm just assuming that in the graph sheet, it will be somewhere here. Okay, so this value will be 39, 7. Anyone has not understood this? So when the advertising expense is 39,000, sales is 47. Or I think I forgot to give the units. Sales is actually in lakhs. Here only we will mention it. Okay. And advertising expense in thousands. So first point, drawing the first point. Has anyone not understood this? 39 in the graph shape may be somewhere here. Corresponding point. Next, 65. 65 somewhere in between 60 and 70. And 53. 53, 50 is here. Right? So this should be 65 and 65, comma 65, comma second point. Next is 62, comma 58. 62, I'm just assuming 58, I'm just assuming 62, comma 8. 62, comma 58. Right? Next, 90 and 56. particular point is called as 90, 8. Right? So just make note of this particular diagram. If anyone wants any type of application, now, do you find any type of a trend here? Now, the trend, if you have to see, it has started from this point and it is going towards this. Is it right? Some type of a trend. You can see. So, basically, if you have to see, there is an increasing trend as what we can conclude here is the value of advertising expense increasing, the product sales also is increasing. That conclusion is draw from this. Is that right? So basically, scatter diagram helps us to determine the relationship between the two variables. It is just a graphical representation, while Carney-Pearson's coefficient of correlation is the numerical representation. Okay. Numerically, we can represent the correlation. So just make note of this. Okay. So I will clear all the drawings done. So this is done. Next is interpretation. The so there is then there is an increasing trend of diagram. We can conclude this correlation. There is a correlation between x and y variable. There is a correlation between x and y variable. What it means is that What it means is as the advertising expense increases product. This conclusion definitely we can draw from this particular calculation. Okay, so once this is done, we'll just discuss types of correlation and types of first type is positive. Positive correlation as the value of x increases, the value of y also increases, value of y also increases. First type of correlation, that is called as the positive correlation. That is called as some of the examples. Patient and price of so this can be one of the example. If the inflation increases, the price actually it is vice versa. Price of vegetable if they actually increase. Similarly, what can be the other example? If the insects stock market index increases, there will be increase in the country. Is it right? Typically, increase found in the census, there will be increase found even in the GDP. Why? Because census is one of the leading indicator for economy growth. Is it right? So we can so whenever the share market rise in the share market also basically rises because a lot of economic activity takes place because of this digital. So these are the two examples for positive correlation. Positive correlation. So possibly we'll stop it at this particular point. If there is any type of a doubt, you can just ask me.